Hey,
everybody. I've got Lynn DelGaudio here today from Morrisville, North Carolina. It's right outside of Raleigh-Durham. And she is amazing. And I've seen her on all these different podcasts, and I just wanted to have her on. She's an integrative health and Mindstyle coach and an author and a speaker that lives, like I just said, in Morrisville, North Carolina. So how many people have heard of a Mindstyle coach? I haven't. But guess what? Lynn's going to tell us today. But she's going to tell us about a lot of other things. Lynn has her own autoimmune diseases that she'll discuss with us, because you guys all know how important that is to me right now. But she also suffered, unfortunately, a traumatic brain and spinal cord injury. And she will tell you what she has done to get herself back to 100%. And it's really exciting because it's pretty much all, she's pretty much all done on her own. So Lynn, would you like to take it away?
Yes, I would. Thank you. I don't know what's going on with the lighting in here, but it's so bright and sunny, and then the clouds come in, so it's like really wonky. So anyway, hey, so thank you first of all.
You're welcome.
For me.
You're welcome.
So a Mindstyle coach. So I'm an integrative health coach first and foremost, and we talk a lot about lifestyle in our coaching, right? We always hear about coaches talk about improving our lifestyle, which is the manner in which, we live, really.
Right.
So for me, and lifestyle has to do with both food and non-food nourishment. So guess what? Our mind needs both food and non-food nourishment as well. So I refer to Mindstyle as lifestyle for the mind, the manner in which and the practice of how we think.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. So that's me. And yeah, I do have, it's under control, but fibromyalgia, it wasn't always under control. It was really bad do you want me to start there?
Well, yeah, because you mentioned something about, now you've never heard of this, the thing with your pancreas?
Yeah. So there have been a few times in my life where I have healed through idiopathic pancreatitis when I was 19. And 2 years in and out of the hospital and tests. And first treated it for ulcers, which actually makes it worse. They mistakenly told me I had pancreatic cancer, but that was the wrong file they were looking at or something. It was like company of errors.
That's always very soothing when they say something like that.
And you know what? I heard it and I was like, okay, I'll join a support group. I'll be fine. In my mind, I was getting a plan together, and then they were like, oops, sorry. Yeah. But and then they were like, a year into it, they were like, well, we're thinking we might want to remove your gallbladder. I'm like, okay, thinking you might want to, why? And they said, well, it might help. Okay, no, I'm not going to let you remove random organs because So I said, and I think they thought I was nuts, but I said, isn't there something I can do with my diet? And I don't know what made me say that, but my intuition was screaming. And so I just followed it. And the doctor was like, I don't know, but you want to talk to a dietitian, let someone in, or a nutritionist. And we came up with a plan of 3 grams of fat, sugar, and salt per day. And it went away. And then and I think it was basically a very bland diet. But then over time, I was incorporating a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that. And sometimes I would have bouts, or I could feel bout coming on, and I would go, okay, I've clearly been overdoing this. So I had to, hone it back in. But I got it under control within a few years. And then every now and then, every few years, maybe I feel like I was going off the rails again, and it was kind of, but it did, once it was gone, it was pretty much gone. So then, that was in the 80s. So
I'm going to ask you a really quick question. So you were just out of high school, right? And then
high school, early college.
The reason I'm asking is because I was diagnosed with an ulcer when I was 15. I was under a little bit of stress, the cheerleader, I had the boyfriend, all that stuff, right? But they're telling you to eat a certain way. You're in high school and you're like, yeah, I'm still going to eat that cake.
Well, no, because here's the thing. When you're in that level of pain, because pancreatitis is not, it's painful. And I lost a ton of weight, and I was like, I will do anything. I don't care. I will eat styrofoam all day if that's going to get me out of this pain. I honestly didn't care.
We're getting into
But
that in a minute, because there's no way you would eat styrofoam. Because when everybody finds out what you're into now,
I know.
No.
But here's the interesting thing about that. I remember asking my gastroenterologist, because there was no medical reason for me to have that. So I called it idiopathic. There was absolutely no medical reason for that. And I asked him, could it be stress? Because I had a tremendously stressful, that age. And he's like, no, I don't know. But it's still in the notes. I still have those records. When I was living in California, like 20 years later, I was working with this trainer, and she said, do you drink coffee? And I said, yeah, 2 cups in the morning. And she said, can you take it down to 1? I said, yeah, no problem. And I told her, I said, I used to drink like 15 cups a day, because when I was in college early on, I had to maintain a 3.85 or higher to keep my scholarship. So I was studying all the time. I got up early. I had like a few glasses with breakfast, and I had some with lunch, and I had at night to stay awake in the library, and one day I just quit cold turkey. And because I'm like, this can't be good for me, right? And she said, did you have headaches? I said, no. She said, were you moody? I said, no. I said, but that's right around the time I got the pancreas. She said, you threw your pancreas into shock, by not weaning yourself down.
Oh, off the caffeine from the coffee?
From the coffee. That was her theory anyway. I don't know, but so then
you would have had CBD coffee. Then you controlled that, right?
Well, but back in the day, that would have been a big no-no. I probably would have gone to jail for that.
I know, exactly right. Exactly. And the other thing I was going to ask you was, so you were in college then when you were diagnosed with this, right? So like you were saying, were they telling you not to drink caffeine or not to have coffee?
They never brought it up.
Exactly. And we'll get into that also, because we were talking earlier before we went live about what the doctors on the Western side aren't telling us about autoimmune diseases, and that they're probably not even educated. I know they're not.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway.
Right. So then in probably around 1999 or 2000, right around that time frame, I just started feeling really sluggish, really like brain fog. And over time, and I remember I would go to a doctor's office and I would just like fall asleep. And, they were like, right, chronic fatigue syndrome, is it, do you have Lyme? Well, my Epstein-Barr titers were up. And I went doctor to doctor to doctor, and no one could figure it out. And, I was like an overachieving professional. I ran 70, 80 miles a week. I was teaching yoga. I was teaching meditation. So I was like, I was healthy and active until I wasn't, and I was only out of bed 4 or 5 hours a day. And walking up 2 steps, I was in head to toe pain. So finally, it was like thousands of dollars, right? And tons of doctors. And then I found this functional medicine guy in Albany, New York, Dr. Stuart Berner. He's the best.
Yeah.
I got to give props where props are due. Hi, doctor. So
I've heard of you too. Hi.
It's amazing. I mean, he's amazing. He's not taking any patients now. I just sent someone to him. But anyway,
he doesn't want to take me.
Well, maybe when things open
up. Maybe
I'll give you his info though when we're done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
He actually pinpointed what was going on, and that I had fibromyalgia and my inflammation was off the charts. And he put me on. He didn't call it an autoimmune protocol, but that's what it was. I know that now. But no gluten, no red meat, no this, no that. Very strict, and I didn't care. I wanted to do whatever I could, and so I followed that. And I also, on my own, decided, because it was such an isolating experience, because your friends don't understand what's going on, your family doesn't understand. My husband, I think, might have thought I'm just lazy all of a sudden for no reason, and it's very isolating. So I had to make sure that this was staying so strong and so positive.
Right. Yeah.
And so we did the diet. I had my mindfulness program, and we did something called IVMT. I've heard it called INT, but intravenous micronutrient therapy.
Yeah.
Or intravenous nutrient therapy. And so you're hooked up to an IV, and they pump you with this solution. There's different concoctions, but
Mm,
like C's and B's and magnesium, calcium,
yeah.
bioresin, I think was in there,
Mm,
maybe like a glutathione shot after or
mm,
booster. Um,
mm.
and so, you know what? Within 3 months, I was probably 60% better. And within
Wow.
another 3 months, I was probably like 80% better. And within a year, I was perfectly fine. And then, but
Wow.
of course, if my diet started to slip, it took me a few years to make sure, like, to make it really, really, really stick.
Hmm.
And every now and then, I will feel something and I'll know, okay, check in, Lynn. What are you behind on? Like, are you
Right.
eating gluten all of a sudden? Like,
Hmm.
are you eating too, like, so, but I can usually shift it through diet and a really strong mindfulness program.
But can you eat bacon? Sorry,
I never ate bacon my entire life. So,
I'm just
um,
curious.
I didn't even eat bacon until after my injury.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and, this was 2000 after the surgery after my injury. So I didn't even eat
Okay.
bacon until, like, I think I had it when as a young child, but it fell out of my radar and I never like had
Yeah.
an appetite for it. And
People
then I
relax.
had it one day in like 2016
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh my God, where have you been all my life? It
I
was
know.
so amazing." I was having like
You're like,
chocolate
Clark.
bacon. Oh my gosh.
I know. So I know it's tough because I've been on paleo and
Yeah.
they're like eggs and bacon. Like every morning you're like eggs and bacon. And I'm like, should I even have the eggs? Because the medical medium says no eggs. He said all these different categories are coming after, and they're like the egg people, the water types, the types of water people, they're just like coming after. He's like, I don't care. But I just didn't know. I mean, I just didn't know if that, because people ask about bacon. They always do. Bacon.
I love bacon now.
I know,
And I had
right?
never really had potato chips since I was a really young child, I guess. And so I
Mm,
found like somebody gave me some Lay's potato chips one afternoon. I was like, "Oh," and I had to gain weight because I had dropped like 30 pounds after the injury.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I was eating bacon and Lay's potato chips every day for a while.
Yeah. We'll get you on the organic ones. Right.
Huh?
Lay's potato chips probably aren't the best for you. Sorry, Lay's.
No, they're not. No,
But
I do
people,
not eat them
if you
anymore.
guys like Lay's, go for Lay's. Sorry, Lay's. That's
No,
fine.
that was just a short-term thing. And I just said, I'm
Right.
indulging. I've had it rough the last few years. I'm gonna indulge for a few months.
Oh, I've had people bring me Lay's potato chips with my lime's all. They're just
But now
like,
they taste disgusting to me.
yeah.
Like I can't even go near them.
Do you eat potatoes, by the
So
way?
bad for you. Hmm?
Do you have potatoes on your diet? Any
I have
types of
sweet
potatoes?
potatoes.
Sweet potatoes? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of have an addiction to the sweet potatoes now.
Oh, they're so good.
I do the fries, but see, I don't even know. Like, do you do the fries where you actually use olive
I
oil
don't eat I don't
to
eat
cook them?
fries.
No fries. Like you won't even like, no, nothing. If you make them, nothing,
I don't
no
no.
fries. Just mash up the sweet potatoes or something.
Bake I just like to bake them
Bake them.
and then
Yeah.
mash them up. Yeah.
Yeah. That's always good too. How about maple syrup in there? No,
I don't eat it.
you know,
It's
you
just
don't need it.
sugar.
I know. It's just like more sugar.
And I think
So,
when I was little, we used to mix milk with some maple syrup in it. It would
mhm,
make the milk taste
mhm.
really sweet, but
Yeah. Right. But I know you started going to your surgery, and I'm wondering, that's a surgery that you had to have after a traumatic brain injury.
yeah.
Would you like to tell everybody about that? Because I think that's very important. I have a lot of people with PTSD. They were in the military that also watch that, but it's not just, or watch this. It's not just military. You have PTSD from anything. It'd be from seeing too many doctors, maybe from a whole bunch of things that could have happened in your past life. So I think that's important that they understand there's other ways that you can actually get
Yeah,
traumatic
I
brain.
actually had PTSD prior to the injury.
Okay.
After I healed through the injury, I really thought that it was at bay. And I learned in January this year that it is not at all at bay. And I ended up in the urgent care with
Yeah.
a massive anxiety attack with triggered by PTSD. And it took me a couple weeks to to get over it, maybe even more than that. But so sorry, I was just writing a note so I don't forget. So in
we're both like typing in my phone. I'm like,
what is my name?
I'm like, who am I?
Hey,
they're like,
there was one time that I woke up and I was in the hospital and I looked in the mirror and I had no idea not only where I was, I didn't know who I was. And this was after, I'll get back to the surgery, but I remember like I walked out to the nurse's station and I said, and I figured out, I thought it was in a dorm room and then I figured out, oh, it looks more like a hospital. And I walked over to the nurse's station. I said, I just had the weirdest experience. Like I looked in the mirror and I didn't know who I was or where I was. I go, what's up with that? And the nurses go, drugs, because you're on so many drugs after surgery.
Right.
But anyway, so
I know.
I get it. I had just finished a run, 2014, July 3rd. And I wanted to lift some weight. So I went to the little gym in the community where I lived and I loaded 80 pounds on the lat pull down machine where you sit on the bench and there's like a pulley system and there's a metal bar up ahead and pulleys over there. So I loaded 80 pounds of weight and I started, pull down one, 80 pounds. And all of a sudden on one of the pull downs, the whole system snapped and it was like, the bar came crashing in my head with a force of 80 pounds. I mean, it's not like I was trying to pull this little thing of lipstick off of a shelf. I mean, so I had a neck injury, I twisted and rotated my axis. We just worked that out last year, finally. Massive TBI. And then if you can imagine, like I was in the seating position, this is like my spinal cord, and this 80-pound blunt force trauma to the head, it created like a hyper shifting in my low back. And then that low back created the formation of a synovial cyst in my spinal cord, which created all sorts of unbelievable pain, which it took doctors 18 months to figure out that pain. And I became so fragile because I couldn't lie in bed because it would just, this shock pain, it was off. And I landed in the ER twice. They couldn't figure it. Nobody could figure it out. They did nerve conduction study, myogram, discogram, all sorts of complicated stuff. And, I was ultimately, whittled to the point of like 5% capacity, maybe 10, and feeling like a 90-year-old and just waiting to die, literally. And
look at you now, though.
Huh?
But look at you now.
Look at me now. I always say, I tell people I'm an overachiever, but I really suck at suicide. Like I suck bad, So I was. I know. I remember, like,
I haven't tried that, but I thought about it.
And I remember, like, I called my friends to say goodbye, and then the next day I woke up and I was like, really, God, really? But at the same time, I was like, this is not who I am. Like, I would never do that. So, and then I'm looking at the medication, all the side effects, and that was one of them. And they put me on 1 per dose, then 2 per dose, and then 3 per dose because it wasn't working. So instead of changing the meds, they kept upping the dose until it got to be like. So anyway, that day was the day I called. I found a doctor who actually saved my life, Dr. Mather, and neurosurgeon. And he's like, well, where's the MRI of your low back? I'm like, huh? No one's taken one. Are you kidding me? No one's taken one? I'm like, no. Yeah. And so he took the MRI and there's the cyst. Wow. So again.
I just had to tell the neurologist on Monday, I'm like, how could you guys forget to do the lower spine when that's my issue right now? And 3 other doctors were saying the issues that you're having right now are probably from that original injury 20 years ago. And didn't you tell them to do that? I said, yep. I said, I did. And he's like, well, now you get to pay another copay. I'm like, oh, great. Thank you.
Oh my God.
But now I have to go
like $1,500 a month or a week. There were so many copays because there's so many specialists. And I remember one neurologist, because my hands wouldn't work from time to time, they would freeze. Like I might be driving to a doctor appointment and then my hands don't work. So I had to like do this on the steering wheel and go 35 miles an hour on the back roads, right? And so I go to this neurologist because my hands don't work. And he sends me to a sleep study.
I just have the EEG. So I'm like, all right, you guys found nothing, but thank you. Thank you. That's going to be another huge copay. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm glad they found out I didn't have the seizures again, but those were from like 20 years ago. I'm like, wonderful. But I'm glad they did that. But when you were saying EMG, I was like, oh, I've had those. What you've gone through, what you're describing is making me go, it makes me nervous. Like, it does.
Yeah, and sometimes, this is actually the first time ever, honest to God, because I just realized this. This is the first time ever that I'm talking about the injury and I'm not getting symptomatic, because I normally will get nauseous when I'm
You told me
talking
that.
about the lat pull down thing. I will typically get nauseous and oftentimes I'll be a little dizzy. Um, so
Mhm.
that's the first time. I mean, maybe I just need to talk to you every day.
Maybe we need to talk to Carl Watkins when he said, you just took CBD oil and it was cat oil. I'm like, yeah, I didn't mean to. He goes, why'd you take the cat oil? I'm like, because the three bottles look exactly the same and I'm having eye issues and I couldn't tell that was cat oil. He goes, so she goes like that in the middle of the interview. I had nothing to do with that. I didn't tell her to take the cat oil. So see, it's things like that that kind of make you laugh. So maybe you just needed to talk to somebody who understands. I mean, they're telling me I have post-traumatic Lyme disease syndrome. Talk about a lot of doctors. I don't even know how many, probably over 50, probably not 50. Yeah. I'm sorry, over, well, I'm 51, but I've probably seen hundreds of doctors. They're like, why do you keep moving around the country? I'm like, because those are the best doctors and those are the best doctors. Coming here to Denver, not the best decision, but it is what it is. And you just have to heal through it. And that's why I wanted you on, because I think you're such an inspiration to people with what you're doing. I do. And it really, yeah. So thank you.
I mean, and again, I really had, because I had so much structural stuff going on, but I really I intuitively knew that if I was going to heal my body, I'd have to really pay close attention to what was going on in here. And when bad things, if I had stressful thinking or somebody called me on the phone to check on me and started screaming and yelling, and like you said, like I had to do this on my own. I was new here. I didn't know a soul. So I had to ask for help. But I also had to say, when people called and yelled at me, I felt my brain swell in my head and I would get eye pain and dizziness and nausea. And there it goes. There it goes. But
how about when they tell you, you have this, you have that, like your friends, they're like, oh, well, you have this, you don't have that. I'm like, how do you know what I have? I'm like, you have no idea. I moved here. You guys don't even know me. I didn't move here for the cannabis world. I could stay in California for that. I moved here for a different reason. And I'm like, so you guys don't know who I am. So how can they tell me, people that aren't even doctors, well, this is what you have? You're like, so maybe that's what you're talking about, is that people are calling you and maybe not yelling at you, but.
No, they were yelling. They were yelling because they were, I think they were well-intentioned, but I think they were like, they saw the severity of the injury. I could not. Right. And they were like, you should be mad, aren't you? What are you going to do? And this is, you'll never run again. Aren't you mad? And I'm like, oh my God, that hurts. Please do not call me if that's how you're going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and I just tried to stay in as much appreciation as I could, which I didn't realize at the time, that's where you can grow and heal. But if you're in your fear and your victim mode and your amygdala, your body isn't going to heal as well. I didn't know that at the time, but you were mentioning PTSD and anxiety or PTSD before.
Yeah.
That I've never been, first of all, I wasn't even that talkative pre-injury. And I was always an INFP, and I'm probably like an ETFJ now. I don't even know, but totally extroverted. My right brain went on fire. My left brain kind of shut down. But the anxiety and the social anxiety off the charts. And like, it was very odd to me. I don't like, it's weird. I'm like, I don't know where this is coming from. But I would get triggered a lot.
So you had social anxiety afterwards?
Yeah. Not immediately afterwards.
Okay.
But it over time, it was because like my anxiety was increasing. And I think it's okay, but the PTSD is still there. I still have to really, really, really pay attention to my triggers.
Yeah. I think kind of what you're discussing, I guess, is it's kind of the whole COVID thing right now, is that someone like me who was like Social Summit, Galore, in the industry I was in, or I'm still in, I mean, I walk in and people are like, I have to talk to you. I have to talk to you. You posted this. I have to talk to you about that. Because do you know anybody that knows more about that? I mean, all the time. And now I'm just like sitting at home, and I love talking to everybody this way, but it's tough because I'm not as social as I was. And they're like, well, how's Jenny doing? I'm like, I'm just dealing with it because we have to deal with it. And I mean, it's opening up more here, but now I'm so fearful about going out. Seriously, I'm like, I don't know if I want to get the vaccine. I don't know if I want to do this or that. But the amount of doctor's offices I'm in, I've been okay this long. So and not being around like 15 people in a meeting to a couple thousand or a few thousand people in a meeting and not getting anything crazy ever before, then they're kind of wondering if I'm just kind of immune to this a little bit, just because I don't want to say that. I'll knock on wood right here. So you can hear it. Because maybe I've already been around it.
Yeah.
And my body just is fighting it off all the time because I have so many things. My body's like, all right, I don't have room for you right now. You can leave now. Right. So anyway, as you were saying, I'm sorry. Like, I don't remember now.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I don't remember. But no, I was just saying.
Just talk about anxiety.
You were saying that you're not that social, or you weren't that social. And after the injury.
I was social, but I was very much introverted.
Right.
And in my profession, I had to speak at board meetings and routinely, right? And I had to give presentations. And I had to be that person, and I could fit that role, no problem. But on my own, definitely a lot more reserved, I should say. And now I will talk to anyone, and you can't shut me up.
Like me. No, seriously, I see you on your podcast that you have. And I mean, you are 100% like on it. I mean, you're just like asking questions, letting them talk for a while, asking more questions.
Oh, it's
Tim? Yeah. That's very exciting. So we don't have that much longer, but I did want you to give the information so people can get in contact with you. How about your email and your website, things like that? Whichever way you think they'll be easiest, it will be easiest for them to get in touch with you. I met you through LinkedIn because I heard you speaking on something. I'm like, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
See, I'm still trying to be social.
We were on Brian's show, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. And my website is LynnDelGaudio.com. My name under wherever it is.
Down here. It's gonna be all down here. I don't have, you guys, I don't have the ticker yet because I'm not live yet, but I will be. I will be. Just give me another couple weeks. I think he said it was 6 weeks it would take. But yeah, so I'll have everything down here. Down here I'll have all of our information and that little paragraph with links and everything. So yeah.
So go to LynnDelGaudio.com, and then my email is just lynn@LynnDelGaudio.com. And registration is beginning soon. I think it's up on the website now, but we won't start till I think May 3rd, the program actually, but you can register or find out more information, or just go sign up and get the free ebook if you want. There's other resources there too. But I've got a 6-week group program called Mind Redesign, Get Unstuck and Powered Up. And it's really going through the strategies that I learned in my healing that became the framework of my coaching. So I'm really excited about that. Or if you just want to do one-on-one coaching, I mean, just go to my website, check it out. I've got a lot of content there. And or find me on LinkedIn.
So I think you're going to be, I think you just saw today, you're going to be speaking at another conference, like virtually, or you're going to be at one or something.
I just finished one for the brain for NAMI and Alliance joined up, and we did. I was on the panel that reviewed this documentary by the amazing Cheryl Green. It was amazing. Yeah, called "Who Am I to Stop It?" About 3 people that are experiencing life after brain injury. And so I was on that panel. I've been on a bunch. I'm doing like 2 or 3 podcasts a week. But if I can I pitch my book here?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll Different impact for trauma to transformation, how a traumatic brain injury taught me to live a purposeful life.
I think it's great. I think that's wonderful. And I like that you have the ebook. I think that's wonderful that you have the ebook too.
And I
Ashley,
think it's free if you've got Prime.
you got Prime? Okay, wonderful. Yeah, because I'm going to download that also. So you guys, I mean, as you're hearing, Lynn is amazing. She has a lot of information. What was Tim's last name again?
James.
Tim James. Tim
Yeah,
James.
check him out
nice
on my
to meet
YouTube
you.
channel.
Yeah, I thought that I actually tried to request him on LinkedIn. So tell him to like accept it, please. So
Well, he's in the middle of a systems migration right now. So
oh yes, he is actually. He was
Yeah.
talking about that the other night. But he has amazing information also. And I will have Lynn on at a different time because maybe she can tell you about what she's doing dietary wise too.
Yeah, I love that.
That's going to be a new system. Anyway, hey Lynn, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. And I'm glad all you guys have heard Lynn today. And definitely LinkedIn with her. Are you on Facebook too? Are you just LinkedIn?
I'm not really that active on Facebook. I have a lot of followers there, but I've just been so inundated with all these other things that.
Yeah. So yeah, they're all like too much information, right? So your YouTube, you have a YouTube channel, correct? Mm-hmm. So definitely like her YouTube channel. I will link that below too, and LinkedIn, and anything else she's active on, she'll send to me and we'll put it down there, right down there. So you guys stay warm. Actually, it's really hot here in Denver right now. It's gonna be in like the high 70s next week and 80s. Woo! You'll get that soon. All right, bye, Lynn. Bye, guys.